Over 200.
And we are officially live. Everybody, my name is Wes.
My name is Matt.
And today, Matt, the Church Giving Bootcamp. Oh
Here
my
we
goodness.
go. I'm really excited. We're going to have a lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover, and a lot to show you. But we'll also have a Q&A time at the very end. However, we do have a live chat running the entire time. Don't hesitate to jump in, introduce yourself, ask all your questions, and we'll be more than we'll have people in the chat answering questions as we go along, including myself.
Yeah. Now, before we dive into all the things, a couple things for you all to know about. You're currently watching this on YouTube, so you already know about YouTube. But did you know we have all of our previous live streams on YouTube? You can check out our playlist. We have playlists for getting started. We have different videos for using accounting and so much more. So check out our YouTube channel to be able to get caught up to speed in all the things ChurchTrac. Matt, Facebook group.
Yes, we also have a Facebook group of other ChurchTrac users, ministry leaders and pastors that are using ChurchTrac. We would love for you to join that group. I'm dropping a link into the chat right now. So go ahead and click on that link, request to join the Facebook group. It's a great community of users that would love to answer your questions and give you inspiration on how to build the body of Christ.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to getting help, just come here, y'all. Come here. Come here.
Come closer.
Come closer. All right, let me show you something really cool. If you click that help button in the top right corner of your screen in ChurchTrac, you will have the ability to go and directly ask our team a question. So I highly encourage that. If you ever run into a snag, you need help, but you can also just go to show all help topics, and that'll pull up our online user guide where here you can access all the things. And definitely we're talking about giving today, so many of you will probably be navigating to the giving and online giving section here. And so definitely take full advantage of that. We have so many great articles, and many of these articles also have videos hooked to them. So there you go. You can take a look at all those articles, the screenshots, the videos, and everything else that we've got to help you out. But let's go ahead. Now, Matt, we have so much to cover. Like giving is like
to cover.
There's so many features in the giving screen, and this is like a very. If you're watching this right now in January, this is the time of year where we're all trying to scramble, get giving statements ready and everything.
Yeah.
So we're going to be covering everything just from the initial setup of the giving screen. We're going to talk about the core features, all the features churches are going to want to use, and then some really good pro tips to help out as well.
Absolutely. And then again, we'll have a Q&A time at the very end.
Yeah, but don't be bashful. Ask your questions during the live stream. We've got our team manning the chat, and they'll be answering questions. And we'll be asking you all some questions, too, as we go along. And my first question for all of you right now as you watch live is, how are you feeling about giving? You feeling good about getting your contribution statements ready for your people? Do you have all your people's info and all that? All right, well, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my giving screen here. So let me go here. Whenever you log into ChurchTrac, the giving screen is found on the left side if you haven't changed your settings, but I'll just go to giving and pledges, and then we have access to all the things in giving. Just a quick overview. For those of you who are like, Wes, I don't even know what this is. The giving screen is broken down into different pages. The first page being our contributions page. This is where we're adding in all of our giving. The next page being our reports. You click this to be able to have access to all the different giving reports that we offer in ChurchTrac. And then pledges, this is where we're creating all of our pledge campaigns, whether it's a pledge campaign for your entire year, or maybe it's a pledge campaign for like a new building, Matt, something like that. And then the categories, this is where we're creating all of our different giving categories for where people are able to give to. And in ChurchTrac, sometimes people are familiar with like funds. In ChurchTrac, categories are how you delineate where your income and expenses are going. So just be sure that you start creating your categories. And then online giving, all of your options for that are found here. So that's just a quick like overview of the giving screen. But now we're going to start jumping in to the initial giving setup.
Yes.
So Matt, where do we get started?
Well, to get started, you actually have to go to the people screen. That's the real step one.
Yeah.
So Wes, go to the people and family screen. You all need to have all of your people at your church, or at least all, in regards to giving, all of your donors have to be on the people and family screen. The reason why is because you have to have a profile to attribute a donation to in ChurchTrac. So for every person that donates to your church, they need to be added to the people and family screen. We're not going to spend a lot of time here because this isn't what we're here for, but just to quickly go over this, you can click the Actions button, then select Add Names and Families, and plug away all of your member information here. You can put people in individually, you can group them together by family, or to make this really easy on yourself, you can import all of your member info. You just send that to us in a support ticket, click the Ask Us a Question button in that help menu, attach a spreadsheet of all of your member info to a ticket. We will import it into your account. We usually do that within like 1 or 2 business days.
It's super fast.
Yeah. Super fast. Or you can go back to that main people screen, click on the Actions button again, and in that drop-down menu, the third option from the bottom, if you could zoom into that real quick. The third option from the bottom says Add My Family QR/setup. If you click on that option, a window appears to the right with a QR code and a URL. You can download that code, copy that URL. If anybody scans that or clicks on that, it takes them to a form that they can fill out online, which will submit their information to your account for you. That way you don't have to do anything. You just review that submission and it's added to the people screen. So that's how to get your member info into the people and family screen as quickly as possible. When that's done, when that's finally completed, then you can go to the Giving and Pledges screen and actually begin this process of recording donations.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is, well, actually, the next step that you have to take is to go to categories.
Yeah, I was going to say a few things. Other kind of initial setup, and this is going to be different for some churches depending on how much they want to go. But the admin settings in ChurchTrac, if we navigate to the settings here and we go to the admin settings, we have this section called Screen Options. And so go ahead, get yourself a little bit familiar with the screen options and the giving screen here. So when I select that, you've got a few different options here, just different things you can do. For example, you can change the name of your anonymous donors to be whatever you'd like it to be. You can have an online giving fee category if you'd like to have a different one, but most churches just use the default that's already made. You can also have things like hide expense categories on the giving screen. You can show the envelope number /member number field. So just be familiar with that particular aspect of it. Also, we have the people screen. I think it's just worth pointing out really quick here. When you go here, you have the ability to assign a member number automatically. So when you're creating your members, so that's just like a little picadillo I wanted to put in here just because sometimes churches want to just have member numbers auto-assigned. So you can do that here as well. Now, while we're already on the admin settings, I want to go to the report settings here because this is an area that we all are going to be using for contribution statements. We've actually put this here because it's kind of such a big deal with contribution statement season. And this is where you can go ahead and specify really what you want your contribution statements to say, and also just like where you want the name and address to be located at. So depending on what kind of those envelopes and things that you're maybe using to mail them out, but then also your contribution statement header, thank you for your faithful giving, blah, blah, blah. Contribution statement footer. Now here's the thing, this is super, super important. I didn't even put this in our notes because this is so important and I just knew it instinctively.
Yes.
We have to have some sort of verbiage showing that other than intangible religious benefits, no goods or services were received in exchange for these contributions on these contribution statements. Because, why, Matt?
Well, because if anything is exchanged for that donation, it's no longer a donation.
It's not.
It's a purchase. And so it doesn't count towards like a tax exempt thing. So you have to specify that so the IRS knows, okay, every dollar on this piece of paper counts towards a tax write-off.
Yeah. Now, if you are in Canada, we do have other options available for you, and you can check those out in the regional settings too. One thing I've noticed a lot of churches do before I head out of here and start go to the other thing is a lot of churches will put the link to their church website of where people can download the app and everything, because this is where the future is going, and we're actually going to talk a whole lot more about that because the shift has already happened, and yeah, you'll see in a minute. Okay, now let's last two things before we get into entering contributions. As far as setup goes, let's talk about setting up those categories, Matt.
Yes. So on the Giving and Pledges screen, go to the Categories page just by clicking Categories in that toolbar at the top. This is where you can list out all of the categories you're using to label the donations according to the donor's intention. So for everything that a donor can give to at your church, you need to have that listed here. you just select the add button at the very top of the screen and then give the category a name. That's all you have to do to add one to the account. So Wes can just throw something in there, giving, 2026, hit OK. And then on the right, that menu is there for you to customize some details, like whether or not you want to use this for online giving, whether this is tax deductible or not. For instance, like you could have a category that you use to record a raffle, but raffles don't count as tax deductible. So you would make sure that that says no. So that's all you really have to do. From here, one other thing to think through is you can also create subcategories just to keep things like grouped together and organized. So you can select another existing category in this drop-down menu Wes is showing you now, and that will move this new category as a subcategory underneath that one you select.
Cool. And then the last thing, just to quickly hit on as far as just initial setup here for the giving screen is the online giving. Now, I've already set up my online giving, so I have access to all these things. But before you can have access to all this, you do need to create a Stripe account. And I've got a little screenshot here just to show what this looks like. And I need to probably make this a little bigger. My team maybe can. But basically, the way it looks is you'll have a little bit of information here telling you about Stripe. Also, it makes mention of getting your reduced rate with Stripe as a nonprofit. But then you just click the button in the application, which then it'll take you to Stripe to be able to create an account. It links it to Stripe and everything and makes your life easy. So once you set up your Stripe account, it takes about 20 minutes to do, give or take. Every once in a while I work with churches, it takes a little longer, but that's just because they don't have all their information. So make sure you have your EIN and all that good stuff. And then once you have that set up, you have all these options available. Like, for example, you have your link. So if you haven't already customized your Connect URL, you've got a special link that you can use for online giving that takes people to your online giving. But you also have your own QR code. And spoiler alert, this QR code works the same way just as Church Connect. Taking people to your church website and app. But then we also have online giving options. A lot of different options. You can require donors to log in.
This is super important to get right.
Yeah. Some churches choose to not have their donors log in. Some do. It really just depends on your level of risk you want to take as a church, because anytime you make it easier for people to give, you also make it easier for people to try to test out stolen credit cards in your site. So just be aware of that. And then you can allow donors to give via ACH. If you're in the U.S., you should always have this check, because ACH will save you a ton of money. And just a few other options here. Donors can help cover the fees. You can enable that. And you can also make that by default on, which is great too. All that there. Another thing worth pointing out is generating a special QR code or link to a specific category, which, Matt, I'd say the biggest situation for this would be like missions, stuff like that?
Yeah, so the best use case for something like this, of creating a specific or a unique URL and QR code for a particular category, would be something, I think, for missions. This is just what I think would be the best way to use this. Give every single one of your missionaries their own URL and QR code, and they can take that anywhere. They can share that with their friends, their family, the churches, the other churches that they speak in front of to raise funds. That way they can collect donations, and it'll all be automatically recorded on the books in your ChurchTrac account, just to make everything as easy as possible for everybody involved.
Yeah. Another thing too, you can manage your recurring donations. If you have people that are struggling, like especially if it's like I don't want to say an older member, but just a member that is not as good with technology, and they're like, I don't know how to cancel my recurring donations. Well, you can do that for them. You have the option to do that as a admin here, but you also have the ability to embed this, an entire form onto your website. So your online giving form, you can embed that to your website. If you're using Church Connect, it actually won't let you embed it because it's already built into Church Connect within the app and the website itself. So that's just something to keep in mind. But those are kind of like, man, that's a lot of setup stuff, Matt. I felt like we spent a while going through that, but it's just so important to lay the right foundation before we start accepting donations online and just having all the things set up.
Especially at the beginning of the year. You have to have the foundation laid so that going forward, your recording and tracking process is just as smooth as humanly possible. But now that we've got everything set up, I think we need to talk about actually recording, like the actual act of recording donations. The first thing to do whenever you're ready to record your first donation in ChurchTrac is to click the Add button on that primary contributions page. It takes you to a calendar. You have to make sure that the date that people gave the donation is highlighted on that calendar. Most of you are going to be on your game and you'll be recording the day of, so that you won't have to change anything there. But if you're doing this later, like I know a lot of people will do it the day that they deposit the money, they take it to the bank, and that'll be on Monday. If you're recording on that day, just make sure you select Sunday, because that's the day that people actually gave, and that's what has to be recorded. But once you select that and you click add date, then it opens up a batch where you can begin recording all donations that were given to your church on that date. You just click the add contributions button in the top right-hand corner of the screen and start plugging away. Type in the first few letters of a donor's name. Our system can make a suggestion for you below that. Also, if you have like member numbers or envelope numbers, there's actually a field on everybody's profile on the people screen where you can put that number, and you can use that number to search their name on this screen. But once that's done, you enter the amount, you categorize the donation, you can say how they gave, check, cash, card, or some other method. And Wes, go ahead, click that plus sign on the to the right. You can itemize a donation. So if a donor gives to multiple things, if they give their regular tithe and then, just to use the same example, give to a missionary that came and spoke at your church, you can split that donation across multiple things. So that's how you break that up across multiple different categories. But once you're done, you hit add this contribution and you move on to the next donor. One thing that I know a lot of you are probably thinking of, I want to say that somebody already asked this in the chat, but if Wes zooms in on that box where you type in that person's name, just hover your mouse outside of that box. I've noticed that you can't put your mouse over that box. Click on it and then put your mouse further down the screen.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's the add as anonymous /cash. I'm wanting you to zoom in on that so they can see it because it's so small.
Yeah, it is a little bit smaller, especially if you are on a smaller screen, or if you're like me and you're looking at a television that's really far away, and I can't get to zoom for some reason.
Move your mouse below that box.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's what I was trying to get you to do.
Oh,
for whatever reason, you can't zoom in on the box itself. You have to like move your mouse off of it to zoom. Anyway, so add as anonymous /cash, if you click on that, it removes the requirement to have a name. So you can just select that. This is where you'll enter all of the offering, just the loose offerings that you can't attribute to anybody. So that's how you record that. Now that that's done, let's talk about importing though, because what we've just shown you is how you're going to be recording donations going forward in ChurchTrac, but we also can look behind at the year 2025 because we're at the beginning of 2026 now. Yeah. If you have all of your all of your donation data, either in a spreadsheet or in another software, and you can export that to a spreadsheet. You can import that into your ChurchTrac account. You just click the Actions button on the contribution screen, and then in this pop-up menu, there's Import Contributions. It's the second option from the very bottom. So if Wes clicks on that, on the right, there will be a box at the bottom of this menu where you can drag and drop that spreadsheet, and everything's imported into your account for you. The only thing you have to be aware of is that there are some formatting requirements. If you're using one of these platforms in the drop-down menu in this screen, then you can just select that and then import that file without needing to change anything. But if you have your own spreadsheet, or if you've been using a platform that isn't on that list, there's a link at the top that says Our Instructions. Just click that. It'll give you the list, like the instructions on how the thing needs to be formatted for our system to be able to read it.
Yeah. Now, a little earlier, we were talking about just adding your people ahead of time, but I think it's really important to mention this is you can add people on the fly as you add giving, and it's going to happen pretty regularly. And the other thing too is whenever you are adding people or adding your contributions and you're using that mode here where I'm importing, you can have the system add new names to your database and everything. The reason we recommend adding all your people ahead of time is just because that's step one of just using ChurchTrac in general. And so by adding all of your people, you're not only doing that for giving's sake, but you're also doing it for just everything else that your church is trying to do, like send mass emails to your people or texts or wanting to schedule volunteers and all that. So that's why we recommend that. But just really quick, I do want to show this. So like if I'm adding contributions and I am I'm going to type in like the craziest, weirdest name of a person that's not even in our our database because I want to show this. Name not found, add this name to the database. So then I can select that and then I can add that person's information. One thing I do recommend is just if you are doing this, maybe have like a process in place where you try to add in all that person's information that you have available, because the last thing you want is a database where you just have like a person's first and last name and email address or something. Like you want to have like a standardized information kind of way of doing things at your church. So if your church always tries to get someone's name and their address and their email and phone number, whatever it may be, just try to make that standard across the board if you can. But yeah, that's adding your contributions. And just worth pointing out, this actions button, there's a few other options available on here, such as editing, deleting, creating a deposit. So you can actually create your deposit for the bank and everything, and also a batch report. And export to CSV is a handy one as well to have. So that is adding the contributions. And let's go ahead. Let's talk about the reports, Matt, because this is the big one.
Yes, this is the big one. So on the reports page, the very first report on that list is the contributions report, or the contribution statement. This is the document you'll be sending to everybody for tax season. It's already highlighted. You don't have to select it. You just have to make sure that the date range at the very top covers January 1st to December 31st of the prior year, and then you can click that View Report button. You can print this, you can generate this report by family or by individual, so that's up to your preference. And also you can include the pledge campaign summary or not. So if you're doing a pledge campaign, you can include that so that all of those donation details are listed for the donor as well.
Yeah. And one thing worth pointing out here is you can have contributions if they gave at least a penny or more, or $50 or more.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of this is going to go to the wayside when we talk about email in a second.
Yes. So what this does is it gives you a PDF of everybody's statements. You can print this off and then put it in the mail or hand it to people as they arrive at church. But the best way to do this, actually, this is the second best way to do it, because the other best way is to just tell them to get it themselves.
Yes.
But the second best way to do this is to go to the People and Families screen. There's a reports page there as well. So you just select reports in the toolbar at the top. And then on the right, there's a list of different reports. But at the very bottom, the very last report on this page is another place you can generate contribution statements. But here, you can choose to email it. So you can send it to everybody as an email. When you generate that, what happens is you'll get a report listing everybody who received it, everybody whose email bounced, and everybody who doesn't have an email address on file. So you'll know who actually got it and who didn't.
Yeah.
You do have to be aware, though, if you're generating this for like a family statement, you have to go to the People and Family screen and just make sure that everybody's family section has an email address listed there.
And I want to show that real fast just because it is like a hidden thing if you're not using this or used to it. So like I'll select just a random person here. And when I scroll down on a person's profile, and this is just a fake person in my database, but I have family email, emilybaker@fakeemail.com. And this particular field, it actually pulls from the email address that you put on the individual up here. And so like if I go to edit this person, and I know I'm kind of getting the weeds here, but at the same time, I know this is going to happen to a few people. And so when you go to edit a profile on a person, this is where when you scroll down and you go to that family email field, you actually have the option. Yeah, it's way down there. And then you can select the different family members here. So yeah, super important to have. I think most churches just opt to send it to the individual instead of the family. That's at least what I've seen a lot. And just to kind of hit on this, I kind of alluded to it earlier, Matt, but let us know in the chat if this is your church, if you're falling into this situation. But we have already seen the shift where the vast majority of churches now, they are not printing out every single contribution statement and mailing them anymore. First of all, postage has gotten expensive because I just sent out my family Christmas cards and saw how
you probably spent $20 doing that.
More than that,
yeah.
And so a lot of churches now are just opting to send emails of contribution statements to their whole congregation. My church has been doing it for years now.
Some people in the chat have said they've already done that for the year.
Yeah.
So like it's becoming so popular that there are some of you that have already done this before this live stream. You've already taken care of that for the year.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get to a point where remember, seeing a church generate a paper giving statement for all of their people is going to be an anomaly. I think by next year that might even be the case.
Well, then you add in the fact, like in ChurchTrac with Church Connect, a member can they can download the Church Connect app, create an account there, have access to their donation history, and produce their own contribution statement any time of year. So your members can get it themselves. You don't even have, it doesn't cost you anything to send the email, but your members can do it themselves too.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, when you want to email all your contribution statements to all of your people, it is on the people screen. By this time next year, I think we're going to have this available on the giving screen as well, just because it's kind of funny that it's on the people screen. But you go to your reports and then scroll down and you'll see that contribution statement report with the option to select the email. So definitely take full advantage of this.
Yeah. But Deborah in the chat said that her church is in the Stone Age. So... So you're just now getting them off Excel and printing out the contribution statements. That's okay. We're here for you too.
Now, I guess while we're talking about reports, I think it's worth mentioning just some of the other giving reports. I'm not going to go and generate them all for everybody just because we have a lot there. But we've got a giving history report that shows the total every person gave between dates, giving totals by date, giving type report, give category summary. There's so much going on here. And a lot of these reports you can actually export to CSV. So if you're like me and you like to nerd out a little bit with Excel sheets, well, there you go. You can export to CSV and have fun. So that is all the things with reports that we're going to cover today in terms of giving. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about pledges, Matt. Let's just kind of keep moving along.
So I would love to know, I'm going to ask this in the chat. Does your church do pledge or fundraising campaigns? I need to learn how to spell. Does your church do pledge or fundraising campaigns throughout the year? Because if so, you can use ChurchTrac to plan that out and track your progress toward your ultimate goal. To do that, on the Giving and Pledges screen, go to the Pledges page, and then click the Add button on this screen to activate a new campaign. And you give it a name. New pledge campaign is already there by default, but you can do, 2026 pledge campaign or something of that nature.
And this is super common. Like my church does this, and a lot of other churches. If I can just try CAMPAIGN.
Yes, there you go.
Where I've got that.
Once you have the campaign created, then from here you need to make sure that you go to the categories page and create a category specific to this particular campaign. So, there we go. So we've already got that created.
Yeah, I already created it ahead of time.
So you select that. Then you enter a start date and an end date. That way, our system knows to stop receiving data or donations or data toward this campaign, so that it doesn't inflate the numbers accidentally. But once you have that entered, then all you have to do is enter the name of the person who is pledging to participate in this campaign. So Wes is typing in Ron. For Ronnie Barlow, he's gonna contribute $6,000. So just type in 6,000. That's 600.
Oh, whoops.
That's okay. But anyway, you guys get the picture. So do this for every single person who is participating in the campaign. Just type their name, the amount that they're pledging, and that's it. If you make a mistake like Wes did, you do have to delete that person off of that ledger and then just re-enter them. There's no way to edit the original pledged amount.
Yeah.
But once you have that done, then you can go back to that contribution screen and record a donation. You record it like any other donation. You just have to use that category Wes selected a moment ago for all donations that are meant to be applied towards that pledge campaign. So that's the only thing that you have to be aware of or keep in mind as you're recording this throughout the year. You just use that one category for recording donations. That'll then feed into the ledger. You'll actually see how much a person has donated toward their pledge and how much is remaining of their pledge. So you can see the progress that your individual members are making and that your church is making as a whole on that pledges screen. So let's go ahead and open up that 2026 pledge campaign. And there's the $500 that Sharon gave. She's got $5,500 left out of the $6,000 that she pledged.
Yeah, cool.
Easy.
Yeah, and it's pretty straightforward. And And I think as time goes on, churches will start seeing other opportunities for this, whether it's a small pledge campaign, like maybe the church has to replace a couple AC units. Now, depending on your church, those AC units could be $100,000, but maybe you're a smaller church and an AC unit's going to be $8,000 or whatever, and just creating a quick little fundraiser for that, or a fundraiser for VBS.
Is it the AC unit for the sanctuary or the AC unit for the back offices? That's the difference.
The answer is yes. It's
all of it.
All of them always.
They all go down at the same time.
Oh man. So yeah, pledge campaigns, that's how to do it. And then as Matt mentioned earlier, you do have, whenever you're going to your contribution statements, you do have the ability, let me go to the right page, the reports, and you can include pledge campaign summary. So yeah, love it. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about online giving real fast. And because we've already talked a little bit about categories and how to set all those up and everything. So online giving. So once you go ahead, you create your Stripe account and everything, and it's linked to ChurchTrac, you're going to have your screen. It kind of looks like this. And you'll go ahead, make sure if you haven't already customized your Connect URL, you can do that. And it could be whatever you want, .churchtrac.com. And then if you're using your own domain, then it'll actually go straight to your domain. So that's cool. And from here, I can download the QR code and all that. But when it comes to online giving, I want to talk about fees real quick. And because I think this is super important. So with ChurchTrac and our Stripe integration, our giving fees are 2.2% plus 30 cents for credit card donations. That's non-American Express, by the way. I just want to point that out because American Express is wild and crazy, kids. And ACH is a flat rate of 25 cents. And this is a really great opportunity. Like, now is the time to be thinking about, if you're already switched to ChurchTrac from another platform and you are wanting to just do your very best to save money at your church and also just streamline things, using our online giving integration is really going to help, especially with our rates, just because, I mean, Matt, I've talked to so many church leaders just like you have, where they're paying 2.9% plus 30 cents,
Crazy.
Which is sticker price for most companies.
Yeah.
They probably don't have access to ACH because there are a lot of online giving companies that don't have ACH built in.
That, or they're also charging similar highway robbery rates for ACH.
Yes.
Because I'm getting on a soapbox. ACH is so cheap for these processors to handle because it's just a bank-to-bank transfer. The processor is just a middleman at that point that isn't even really doing much. That's why it's so low for our ACH rate. What a lot of I'm getting into this. What a lot of church management software companies do is they engage in something called rev share, where they'll take the processor rate, they'll negotiate a lower discounted rate with the processor, but then charge your church the sticker price that the processor is charging, and they pocket the difference. We don't do that. We've negotiated a lower rate with our processor, and that's just what you pay. So we haven't added anything on top of that. That goes straight to what you pay, goes straight to the processor, and you keep the rest of those savings.
Yeah. And here at ChurchTrac, we make $0. I want to make this very clear. $0 on your online giving transaction. So all that is just through Stripe, through our integration with them. And we've already got those great rates if you're a nonprofit at 2.2% plus 30 cents and ACH. All right. Now, we've talked about online giving fees, which I could have gotten on a soapbox as well on that one because it fires me up when I see churches get taken advantage of.
I mean, there's hundreds of church management software companies, and only you can count on one hand the number of companies that don't engage in rev share.
It's pretty bad.
It's really low.
Well, we're doing a video. Spoiler alert, we're doing a video. We're actually going to expose the entire online giving industry. I'm putting all of you providers on notice right now that may be watching this.
It's on site.
Yeah, shots are fired because we're just tired of it. I'm tired of seeing churches spend thousands of dollars on online giving fees. Enough is enough. Okay, let's talk about, now that we've covered we've covered initial setup and just all the things we need to get done, Matt. We've covered just the core features here going on the giving screen, which is crazy that we spent 25 minutes just going through core features of just one screen here in ChurchTrac.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some pro tips that I think will help churches get some really good value from this. And I actually just thought of a pro tip on the fly that I'm going to add at the end too.
Okay. All right. So the pro tip number 1 is to lock your batches. This is for accountability and transparency purposes. So on the contributions page, whenever you have double and triple checked a batch, and if you have our accounting module as part of your subscription, you can also deposit that batch into the accounting screen. Once all of that is done, click the actions button, and the very last option on that list is the option to lock the batch. This prevents anyone from coming behind you in the future and retroactively making any changes to that batch.
Yeah.
The only way, if for whatever reason you find out that some mistake was made, maybe like the wrong person was selected for a donation or some a wrong amount, wrong category, whatever. The only way to unlock a batch is to reach out to us, the support team, and we will unlock it for you, and then you can go make your changes.
Yeah.
So that's just to make everything safe and secure.
Yeah. That's a really good one. And a lot of churches love this, Matt, just because it's like this added level of just transparency and just security for their giving.
Yeah.
So
that you can just proceed with confidence as you manage your donations. But you've got one for using accounting.
Yes. Well, this is more of a, like, don't forget this than a pro tip, but like, so if you're using accounting in church, in fact, let us know in the chat, are you using ChurchTrac accounting as well? Press 1 in the chat. But if you're using ChurchTrac accounting, this you need to know about and you don't want to forget, because I see churches that forget, and when they forget, bad things happen. And this is the ability to create a deposit. So like if I go to, I'm just going to pull a random one here. So I've got this, and I select the actions, and then I have the ability to create a deposit. And so what this does is I'm telling the software, okay, I have these giving transactions, whether it's one or many, and then I want to select, and it'll have a list of all those transactions. I only have one in this particular batch. I can select which account I want to put that deposit in, and then I create that deposit. And so then once I create that deposit, now that deposit has been made. When I go to the accounting screen, that deposit's actually going to show up in my checking account. I know we're going to the accounting screen when we're talking about giving, but it's super important to show that. And so we have it. I think it's probably actually down here because of the back date, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So there's a giving deposit. There's another one. You can see all these giving deposits, and notice that they have the categories and everything aligned properly. It's just super important. And you will actually start seeing it. This is the most common thing that happens, Matt. Churches will be using the giving screen, and they're using ChurchTrac accounting. And then over time, they're like, oh my goodness, why is ChurchTrac on the accounting in my account? It's showing a negative amount in my bank balance.
When at the bank, it's not negative.
No, it's not. At least I hope it's not. Yeah. And the reason why is because you're not hitting that create deposit button. Yeah. That's typically the reason why.
The people are recording donations on the giving screen and recording expenses on the accounting screen, but they haven't moved the income from the giving to the accounting. So the accounting doesn't reflect any income at all. Just make sure that you are depositing those batches so that on the accounting side, everything balances. If you're using ChurchTrac online giving, you can set up automatic online giving deposits.
So is this pro tip number 3?
This is pro tip number 3.
Okay.
This is to piggyback off of creating those deposits. The batches for online giving are automatically recorded in ChurchTrac. You don't have to record those yourself. So all donations given through that portal will show up on the contribution screen for you. You can also have the system automatically deposit that batch from giving into the accounting screen. So again, everything balances. But what's really cool is you can also have the system calculate the fees. So it'll subtract the fee from that batch, assign that fee to an expense category of your choosing. That way, all of your reports show exactly what they should be showing.
Yeah, and we've got a whole article too, because I can't really show this in my account because it was already enabled, but just follow our article, and there's actually a funny video of you, Matt,
me. There I am.
showing how to enable automatic online giving deposits and everything, so that'll help you out.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of online automatic giving deposits, you have a pro tip on online giving.
Yes, well, this is a big one, and I already talked about it earlier, but so if you're going to be using our Stripe integration and you are a nonprofit, which vast majority of churches we work with are classified as a nonprofit and will qualify for Stripe's nonprofit pricing. And that's that 2.2% plus 30 cents for credit card transactions and the 25-cent flat rate for ACH. So you definitely want to reach out to Stripe. Follow our user guide. We actually have it. I'm going to see if I can find it on the fly here just because I think it's under our Getting Started in Facts. And we have this article, or maybe it's on the giving screen. But yeah, we actually have an article that talks about all this. I'm just trying to remember where it is now, Matt. Let's see. I'm going to find it.
Which one is it? The Stripe?
Yeah. It's I think it's like the online giving fees. We're getting to a point. You know what? I just need to search.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, because we have the search and everything, and it may pull it up.
ChurchTrac online giving fees.
Why
there
did
it is.
not you do that from the very beginning? But yeah, this article talks about all the different fees with Stripe, and like, of course, everyone sees 2.9%. Well, that's the sticker price. But the thing is, you're a smart church, and you don't have to do the sticker price because you can qualify for Stripe's nonprofit pricing and reach out to them and get on that. So yeah, that's a big one. Your church, especially if your church is processing a lot of donations. I mean, we're talking, you could be saving thousands of dollars a year if you're processing upwards of $100,000 or more in a year in donations. So yeah.
Highly recommend that you make sure that you get the nonprofit rate and that you promote ACH to your members who do use online giving. That way you can pocket as much of that donation as possible and not have to pay any processing fees. That's why we don't add fees on top of that, because we don't want your church paying that. We want your church to keep that money and use it to do actual ministry.
Yeah, actual ministry things.
Yeah, not administrative stuff like fees. Last but not least, and actually not last because you have another one you've got in your pocket, but you can use ChurchTrac to record what's called in-kind donations. These are just all non-cash donations, like cans for the soup kitchen or a couch for the youth rec room or something like that. To do that, you just, like any donation, you can record this in the same batch as everything else. But anytime somebody donates something like that, you just type in their name, the amount. Listen to me. The amount has to be $0. You always record a non-cash donation as $0 because it is the donor's responsibility to know the market value of that item and to write that off on their taxes when they're filing. It's not up to you to know and record that market value. Even if they give you a receipt, you say thank you and hand it right back to them and tell them to keep it because they need that when they file their taxes. But the category, you need to create an in-kind category. So Wes, in that category drop-down menu, this account should have that. You just type in kind. Yeah, in-kind donation. So just make sure you have a category that denotes the fact that this is it can be in-kind donations like this account has. It can be something else, whatever. Just so long as it denotes the fact that this isn't a cash-based donation. And then use the memo to detail what that item was.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And if you want to be polite, maybe you could put the amount there just so that the donor has that, they see that, and they can file it. But again, that's not your responsibility at all. That is the donor's responsibility to know the market value and to write that off on their taxes.
Yeah. And so here I've got Ronald Swanson. He donated rocking chairs to our...
that he built by hand himself, right?
Yes, he did. So that's recording kind donations. And I've got one last pro tip to share.
What is this?
And this is actually such a big pro tip that it's hard for me to explain, so I got to show. So I'm going to go to the settings in ChurchTrac. If you have not seen automations in ChurchTrac, well, you're seeing it now, and you totally should start using it. Automations in ChurchTrac are pretty wild because you can create an automation that does anything from automatically assigning a person to a particular group or sending someone a birthday text on their birthday. But I'm going to show off application automation. So I'm going to call this one Giving Report. So you can have the software create a automation for like giving reports. So let's say, Matt, just to have some fun here, I want on a particular, let's say on a day of the week, every single Tuesday, every Tuesday at 9, only on Tuesdays, I want this to run, okay? So that's when it's happening. And what do I want to run? Well, I want it to be a giving screen report. And then I can select and configure this giving screen report. And I'm just going to say a category summary. And I want it to go to the U. And then I can choose the date range and I can say for the last week. So last week's category summary report is going to be automatically emailed to you every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. Isn't that wonderful?
Easy. We make this as easy and simple as we can, just so that we save you all that time so you can focus on doing real ministry work and less administrative work.
And what's cool is not to, just be simple here. I'm going to take it to the next level. Let's say there's a bunch of different reports that I wanted you to have. Like I can just keep adding those and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
have one automation run multiple different tasks.
Yeah. And it could be all to you, or it could be to like different people or like everybody in our treasure team, whatever.
Yeah. Like the board, the elders, even what's really cool is I've seen some churches will add like somebody that works in their denomination office, like at the state or whatever other level, add them as a user. so they can access things, but also have it so that they can automatically send them emails of their reports that have to go up the chain.
That's
super smart.
That's super smart. That's like that's big brain stuff. Yeah, man. I love that, dude. All right. So we've covered a lot. We've covered the pro tips and everything. I think now it's 2:44, at least our time, Eastern Standard. I think we should just start answering any questions. I know our team's been doing a phenomenal job of answering questions. Matt's been multitasking and making his computer keyboard catch on fire as he like types out all the replies.
Doing my best.
But let's just take some time. Let's answer y'all's questions live. We're only going to be talking about giving related stuff. So if you want to talk about like deep accounting things, and hold that because we're actually going to be doing accounting next week. By the way, FYI, our church accounting bootcamp will be happening next week, Matt.
Next week. I'll even drop a link into the chat so that you all can sign up for that. There we go. There.
Yeah.
Okay. So there it is. Go ahead and click on that link. Make sure you sign up for that one. Join us. Same bat time, same bat channel.
And can the camera get a close up real quick of me? I want to show something. See, oh, there we go. See
The
this
Yeti cup.
So this is a really cool cup. I like these cups. Let's give a few of these away
Today?
Let's give them away today. So here's what I'm going to do. After this live stream, I'm going to go to our Facebook group, and I am going to just put in a quick little post in our Facebook group, and y'all just start commenting on this post, okay? And I'm going to pick a couple comments on that post at random and give y'all free Yeti mugs with the ChurchTrac logo and
Love
stuff.
it. I just
Let's do
dropped a
that.
link into the chat for the Facebook group, so make sure you click on that and join that group as soon as possible. I vet everyone that comes in, so I'm here and I see you. I'll make sure that you get added, and then do what Wes said. Comment on that so that we can get you the Yeti mug.
Yeah, and I'll choose the people at random 24 hours after this live stream. So you have 24 hours to hurry and get in the group if you're not already in the group.
Hurry.
And comment on that post that I will be putting in there very shortly. So, all right, Matt, questions?
Yeah.
We have
Aniat, I'm sorry, said, I noticed that teenagers' giving was added to their family statement, so I had to remove them from that family in ChurchTrac to have that separated. Yes, so you do need to, if you want to give an individual a statement, they cannot be a part of, like a child can't be listed as a member of a family, because their donations will automatically be grouped together with that family. If they need theirs separated, you're going to have to separate. Well, you can also just produce an individual statement for that person.
This is the classic scenario where every church is different, and so reach out to our support team so we can look at exactly what's going on. But a church does have to make a decision: are we going to give giving statements by family or by individual? That's the first thing that we always say.
Yeah.
But then from there, just let's get into nuances. Reach out to our support team, and we'll tackle that.
So Maria said, "Is there any way to know if a contribution statement has been emailed for a giver or family? Trying to have a checklist of ones that have been sent." Yes. So if you go to the people screen, go to the reports page and generate that contribution statement there and email it, you will get a PDF report of listing out everybody that received it, everyone whose email bounced, and everyone who doesn't have an email address on file. So you'll know who got it and who didn't.
Yep.
That's the way to get that list.
Yep. But you know what? We didn't show this, and I can't believe we didn't show this, Matt.
What's that?
Gentleman in the control booth, get the camera, or not the camera, the phone ready.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even bother showing.
How did I not do this?
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't do this. All right. So I've got my phone pulled up here. Okay. This is my iPhone. And this is Android and iPhone, by the way, have access to the Church Connect app, or you can just go to the church's website. But as a giver of the church, so I'm logged in as a church member, I can select give to give online. And so like, let's say I wanted to give $100. I can select where I want it to go, set up recurring donations, all that good stuff, and then just send the gift. And it will go ahead and send that transaction. So pretty quick, pretty easy how you give. But when it comes to your people being able to go on the app and they can check their giving anytime, all they have to do is select on the top right here. We've got that little thing that will show the giving records, and they can also manage their recurring donations, which I love, just because, like, I'll give you an example. I was changing my recurring donations because I wanted to increase it, and so I was able to cancel it and then add in my new one. And so this gives your people the ability to do that, but also they can just look at all their previous giving and download their family statement from there as well. So yeah, that's all built into the app. I do not know how we forgot to show this on the mobile device, but now everyone's seen it. So there we go.
Now, question, how do you generate income statements? That's not related to giving. Income statements have to do with both income and expense. It's your profit and loss statement. That's found in the accounting screen. So if you have that, just go to the reports page there and you can find that income statement. So thank you very much to Dory for asking. Atoy Garcia, is it possible to incorporate church accounts to ChurchTrac? Yes, that's done in accounting. We have an accounting module. It's an extra subscription. Just go to the pricing page on our main website to learn more about that if you don't have access to accounting. But that's all included in this software. You can have access to all of that, manage everything there. But this is about giving, so we're gonna move on. Kathy asks, can you adjust margins and spacing on the giving reports?
Yes.
Seems a lot of ours give 2 lines on page 2 or 3. So yes, Kathy, if you go to settings, then go to admin settings if you are the administrator of your account, and then go to the report settings. This is where you have the ability to customize some details about that report, including the offset of certain elements. So you can determine some things about the spacing and organization of that document. You can even, right below where Wes is at the very bottom, you could even upload your church's logo so it shows up on the statement. It makes it look like official letterhead.
Yeah, that's great. And I just want to point out for all of our Canadian churches, this is where we can go ahead and show the receipt number for the Canadian.
Yeah, you just flip that to the yes, and it'll produce that receipt number. Somebody in the chat was actually asking about that. So there you go. I forget who it was. I apologize. I forgot your name, but that's how you access that and make sure it shows up on the statements. Cornerstone Church. How do we account for when someone pays with a business check? We have some that make offering through their business and then also personally. So it doesn't really matter. The IRS isn't really going to care if it's done on a business check. But what you can do on the people screen is you can add that business as an entry. So whenever you're in that menu to add a name, there's an option at the top to add an organization as opposed to a person. So you can list that organization, and then whenever that business makes a donation, you just attribute that donation to that. That's how you would record that and make sure everything looks good on your paperwork.
One thing I have noticed, some churches that like to get very specified is they'll have like a special status they'll create. And so instead of saying Billy's Lawn Care is a member of our church, they'll actually have like a status of like vendor or something like that. So just a thought.
Yep. Let's see. Elise. Okay, yes. This is again goes back to what I was kind of harping on earlier about in-kind donations. For in-kind, if you want to be nice, and show the amount, would you show that in the amount field or in the notes field? Do not put it in the amount field. Do not put the amount of that item in the amount field. That is always $0. You always, always, always put 0 in that field. You can, if you're wanting to be nice, put it in the memo field.
I just want to say something.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Even that?
I wouldn't recommend it simply because there's a lot that can be misconstrued and everything doing that. If a person wants you to give them like a fair market value of something. So let me give you a really good example. I was at a church where we had a church member donated a beautiful, beautiful Yamaha piano, sweet piano. I wish I had that piano. But they wanted the church to give them a documentation showing that we were given this piano and it has an estimated value of this and everything. So like that's a whole separate thing. So when you get in that line, but in terms of your contribution statements, recording your giving and doing there, you don't want to put any dollar amounts. That's not for us as a church to do that. And it's on our donors if they want to be able to prove that to the IRS, which for the vast majority of donors, this doesn't even apply. So yeah.
All right. Chris said, ChurchTrac is great. Love you guys and girls. The help support function is always available for their church community. Yes, we love you. We love you very much, Chris. Thank you very much for saying that. Deborah said, can in-kind donations be actual purchases of items that are donated to the church? For example, decorations, food for an event, etc. So they have to donate the item. Even if they're covering the purchase of something, that doesn't count as an in-kind donation if the church goes and buys that thing. They're just making a donation, and then the church is just using that funds as they see fit. That's something that you would have to, reach out to the support team for like really good specifics on exactly how to navigate that when recording it.
And one thing I'll say, like an in-kind donation, just like a donation in general, it's giving something and expecting nothing. So if someone is giving, like, I don't know, paint to repaint the sanctuary in kind, but then they're expecting the church to reimburse them for it, that's not a donation, and that's not an in-kind donation either. So that's the big thing, and we kind of hit on that earlier, but just having in there no tangible things were received and stuff in your contribution statement.
Yeah. Let's see. So, yes, David said, how do I get PayPal donations into the giving? You record them like any other donation. The donation portal that you get through ChurchTrac is the only way that online giving donations will automatically appear in the software. For any other platform you use, honestly, I recommend you just use ChurchTrac accounting or ChurchTrac online giving just because it simplifies things and it has lower rates than PayPal. But for all other platforms, you can import contributions from PayPal, or you will have to at least log in and record those donations as if they were written to you as a check.
Yeah. Yeah. And if your provider is not available here, so like let's say you're using another online giving provider we just don't have in this list, you just select the manual mode and just make sure you follow our instructions. And so as you import that file from that provider, you just make sure you have the things in the right column so that way the software can properly map it and then put in all those donations for you. And if you only have like a few donations you're trying to put in, I wouldn't even bother the whole process of doing import. Just go ahead and just add them in if it's like 5 things.
Yeah. CJ asked, would I need to have a special app or something to send out the automated emails? No, CJ, that's all done in your ChurchTrac account. This is an all-in-one software. Everything you need to do to manage your church is done right here in ChurchTrac. You don't need a third-party platform to send that out. It's all done under the same roof.
Yeah, and if you go to our main website, just churchtrac.com, and you go to help and resources and you go to watch our videos, that takes you straight to our YouTube channel, and then you can see all of our previous live streams. We actually did an automation bootcamp where we went through all that stuff. So yeah, go check out some of our previous videos, and we go in great detail showing how you can leverage automations for all the different things, not just giving, but just anything you can imagine. Automations is really great.
Yeah, and Salem Community Church asked a really important question. I'm almost honestly kind of embarrassed that we didn't address this already. Will a contribution statement generate for archived names? And the answer is yes, it will. So if anybody donates during the year, even if you've archived their name, you'll still get a contribution report for that donor.
Yeah. And this is something really just important to know about since we're talking about archived names, is archived names don't count towards your name tier. So let's say you have a lot of people, they gave to your church one time, but like they don't actually go to your church and you haven't seen them since that one time they gave in February, whatever it may be. Go ahead and archive that person. That way they're not counting towards your name tier, but you still, when it comes time to generate those contribution statements and shoot out those emails or whatever, you've got all that and it'll send it to them. So yeah.
Vicky said, I've created a budget and had to add more accounts. They will not alphabetize correctly. How do I correct this without deleting the budget and recreating it correctly? Reach out to the support team for the details on that. We're not going to get into that on this live stream. Let's see. How can we create a QR code for one-time users? So like create a QR code for one-time users.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Rachel is asking this.
So giving, and so like, let's say you have a situation where you want to have a very specific thing people give to that it automatically defaults. You go to your online giving screen, and then you go right here, says you can generate a QR code and link for the giving. So if I select that gives me the ability to select the category, and then I can go ahead and choose whatever category I'd like. And I'm just for the sake of this, I'll do children's ministry here. But then we can go ahead. I love the fact that you can do an amount as well that it'll default to. People can still change it, but like, let's say you have a particular situation where you just want a bunch of people to donate, $20 or $50 one time, then you can just put that in here and then it'll just default to that dollar amount. And then I can download that QR code. I've got the link right here. And so, yeah, it's kind of neat being able to do that.
April said, when printing reports of individuals, we had a problem of some reports being half on one page and half on someone else's page. How do I fix this? It sounds to me like sometimes a donor would make a donation, like sometimes a couple would make a donation, and some donations were attributed to one member of the couple when it should have been the other.
Yeah.
For that, you're just going to have to go back through your records and redo those donations to attribute it to the right member of that family.
Or probably in that situation, at least this is my personal opinion, I would just generate a family contribution statement for that one family that happened to. That's why, it's very situational. And
no,
depends.
because there are some couples that are married but file separately, so they can't take the same statement. They really need to have everything individualized.
Which is even more of a reason to reach out to our support team until we know the exact situation so we can talk through it.
Yeah. Refuge asked, is there a way to attach a letter from the pastor to the emailed contribution report? There's not a way to attach another document, but in that report settings menu and under admin settings, you can actually customize the message that's sent out by email. You can customize the body of the email. So you can put a little message there from the pastor. Mitchell asked, does the PDF version of the contribution receipt have the official receipt number that was emailed out to the donor? Yes. So he's in Canada. Okay. So yes, Mitchell, if you go to the report settings menu and just make sure that the show receipt number on Canadian statements says yes, then the receipt number will appear on each family or individual's statement. So whenever if you send it in an email, and if you need that for your records, when you send it out as an email, you don't get a copy of that contribution statement. But after you send that email, you can then turn around and just generate it as a PDF and just keep that for your records. But those receipt numbers will appear on everybody's statements.
Perfect.
Nicole said, we are a nonprofit for SCC, but we did not do a tax exempt. Can we still get the discount on online giving fees? Actually, we see a lot of ministries that don't have their own tax, like 501c3.
They fall under the umbrella of it, and it really just comes down to organization. So just when you reach out to Stripe, give them all the information they need, so that way they can. Yeah,
give them all the information you have, even if they don't specifically ask for it. Just send it to them. Then they can determine what they need from there. But yeah, if you don't have your own 501c3 designation, but you're under an organization that does, Stripe generally does receive that as tax exemption. You just got to provide that proof.
Now, one thing since we're talking about fees, I might as well just throw this out there because ACH, obviously, it's the best way to accept donations. For every person that was giving with credit card and you get them to switch to ACH, you're saving roughly $80 per donor per year, depending on how much they regularly give. And I asked a pastor, the other day, I was just like, how many people at your church give with credit card as opposed to ACH? And he was like, most of them give with credit card. And I told him, well, have you ever thought about just asking them to give with ACH? He's like, well, I've never asked them. And it's like, ask them. And actually just make it a point every once in a while when you're talking about giving, because a lot of churches, especially my church, like we mentioned in every service at some point, hey, for those of you who give at our church, you can always give online. That's a great opportunity to just educate our people and say, hey, by the way, when you give online, if you're a regular donor, give with ACH. It actually saves our church money and means more money goes to missions. And if you just ask your people, you might have most of them start giving with ACH instead of credit card, which will save you lots of money.
Yep. Noel said, for contribution entry, I'm tabbing through the fields on my keyboard. The deductible and type downs are skipped. Also, could it be possible to change the person's name after the entry is entered? Well, I can answer the second half. No, it's not possible to change the donor's name after the entry is entered. You have to delete that entry and just re-enter it correctly. Other details can be edited later if some mistake was made, but the name can't be changed. As far as the tabbing and all that, reach out to the support team or submit a feedback request. Because we actually we'll read all the feedback that we receive from people that use ChurchTrac, and we'll consider making updates and changes to the software through that channel. So definitely send us your ideas if you feel like there's just a thing that would make your experience in ChurchTrac better.
All right, now just to take a quick time out, Matt, how many more questions do we have out of curiosity?
Probably at least a couple dozen.
Wow. Yes. That's wild. That's wild. So I tell you what, we'll continue answering questions, and my team, they're not trying to kick us out. It's not like the batteries are going to die on anything right now, is there? I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. So we can keep answering these questions. And for those of you who are like, hey, Wes, it's time. I'm tapped out. I've got to go generate my contribution statements now. See you later. Thanks for joining. And for just to remember, we have our great YouTube channel, our Facebook group. You can join that. And if after today, or if you're watching this at a later time, you're not watching live, well, hello you in the future. You can always just reach out to our support team, create a support ticket. We answer most questions usually in about 1 business hour. Our team's pretty quick about that, and we can help you out. So, all right, now that that's out of the way, let's keep answering questions, Matt, because people got a lot of questions, and we're here for some answers.
If my church has another giving system in addition to ChurchTrac, are we able to add the total in ChurchTrac and will it be included in their contribution statements? So if you're using another online giving platform, you do have to import that or record those yourself. But if you've been using another church management software, you can export that and import that into ChurchTrac, or you'll have to just produce 2 different contribution statements for the year 2025. That's the only way to balance that.
Yeah. If your software enables you to export via CSV, so that way you can throw that into our import for giving, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah. Does the PDF... Okay, so that was already answered earlier. End of month Manteo Faith said, end of month can be tricky with deposits. How important is it to be a Sunday date? Our volunteer treasurer wants deposit to coincide with monthly bank statements. The IRS requires that contribution statements record the date of the donation, not the date of the deposit. It's kind of like a backdated check.
Yeah.
So with a backdated check, the donor gets to count that donation according to the date on the check. So you, as an organization, need to be recording the donation as it was given to the organization, even if it's not deposited until a day or 2 later.
Yeah. And a lot of churches, just to kind of throw this out there, a lot of churches don't just like immediately generate contribution statements on the January 1st.
Yeah.
They usually wait.
Yeah, of course, because checks may come in a day or 2 later, and they still have to account that for like December 31st.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, we already answered that one. There's been a few people that say they need the ChurchTrac mug. So one guy was like asking to buy it because he wants to gift it to all of their finance team.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We don't sell them just because we're not actually trying to like sell them, but maybe you'll win. Yeah, just jump in a Facebook group later. I'll get in there.
We have, this is so funny. Refuge, Owasso said, I need that ChurchTrac mug so I can get my congregation to add their info into ChurchTrac. So that's going to be their incentive.
Well,
I love that.
I will throw this out there. We go to a lot of different denominational conferences and things. So you'll probably see our booth there, and we typically have mugs with us and all kinds of other cool swag. And so definitely come by and say hey to us at the next conference you're at, because there's a good chance we'll be there. Yeah.
How Young asked, I imported my Subsplash giving into ChurchTrac. Do I need to go and deposit each batch so it's added to accounting? Yes. So when you do that import, thank you very much for asking, you need to go back and deposit those batches into the accounting module. Going back as far as you need in the, like for however far back you want your accounting data to go, you need to deposit those batches into ChurchTrac.
Yeah. And before you do that though, please reach out to our support team and explain the situation in like the whole thing. That way we can just make sure that you don't accidentally throw in a bunch of deposits when maybe you didn't need to, because it all comes down to when you're wanting to start accounting and all that.
Yeah. Can you record as a contribution when someone purchases custodial supplies for the church? That's by DT. Again, it depends on exactly how you go about this. If they went to the store and bought it and then just turned it into you, then yeah, that's an in-kind donation. If they gave the money to the church for the church to go buy it, then you need to record that income and just make sure that it is added to their contribution statement. So yes, you can record that either way, but reach out to the support team for specifics. Joan said, if giving with Stripe, what route does the contribution have from Stripe to showing on the contribution reports? Well, from Stripe, they submit a batch report to ChurchTrac, to your account. You'll see that batch on the contributions page, and that is already added to the contribution statement. So literally, that's all done for you. You don't have to touch anything, as long as that person gave not anonymously on Stripe. If they do give anonymously, then you have to attribute it to somebody. Vicky said, our giving screen does not ask for check number versus cash. Do we need to update our software, or is it specific to a subscription level?
That's a little feature that's in the admin settings, if I do recall. So if you go to
screen options,
screen options, and then we go to our giving screen, and I believe, show giving type selection box right here. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much for asking, Vicky. K-Tran said, giving via the app with ACH is 35 cents. Can we only have it restricted only for ACH and not accept credit cards? I think, did you mean to say 25 cents? Maybe you meant to say 25. Can we restrict it to ACH and not accept credit cards? Also, to sign up, we have to go through Stripe. Yeah, you do have to go through Stripe. That's the only processor that we integrate with. There's not a way to restrict donation type in online giving. Your members have to, it's up to you to promote the ACH option and just communicate to your members that that's what you want them to do.
Yeah. And one of my pastor friends here in Florida, actually, he has 99%, I believe he said 99%. He only has like a couple people that regularly donate, they give with credit card, because he would just tell people for like a solid month, hey, when you give with ACH. And it's saving his church thousands of dollars a year in fees. It's crazy.
Love it. Yeah, Rachel was saying, my people can't automatically get into online giving all the time. That's a support. Reach out to support. Let them know exactly what's going on, and they'll give you the solution to that. Harry asked, does ChurchTrac comply with a minimum account system of the IRS regarding a non-for-profit contributions? Well, yes. Any donation recorded through ChurchTrac is going to comply as long as you, as a church, are recording properly. Then it'll count towards that person's as a write-off for their taxes.
Yeah. Reach out to our support team and kind of give us some more detail of what it is you're wanting to know. But a lot of this does fall back on the church, just making sure the church does what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Lou Joyner, you asked a very important question. This is something that other church management softwares do require, but ours doesn't. He asked, does each vendor need to take a people slot? No.
Nope.
You don't have to add a vendor as a person or an organization on the people screen. You go to the accounting module and there's a payees page. Just go to the payees page and list those out there so that you don't have to store that on the people screen. Thank you very much for asking. Elise, I'm sorry, that was something else. Let's see.
A lot of good questions.
Yes. Yeah, the value of Stripe. Yeah, Larry said the value of using Stripe is in the auto deposit. Yeah. So ACH and then the automatic giving deposit, just you literally can set it and forget it. You don't have to touch anything or think of anything from there.
We have a really great article. Can we share this article, Matt? It's in our blog. And our team actually just came out with the update for this.
Send that to me in the chat, and I'll drop it in the chat.
I think you wrote this article, and then we just updated it. But how to switch online giving providers. This is something that scares a lot of churches because they're just like, oh man, the thought of switching from whatever I'm using to ChurchTrac, I don't want to lose all the donations from my recurring donors and all that good stuff. And that article will help guide you. Just because I get it, you've got a lot of people donating with this other platform, and the thought of switching to something else means you could miss out on all these donations. This article will help guide you, and I think you'll see it's actually not as scary as you think it may be.
Mm-hmm. All right, we still have a lot of questions to go, and unfortunately, we don't have time to answer every single one of them. We're pretty close to being done, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm actually going to cut this off and say that we're done answering questions for now. If you have questions, or if there was a question that we just didn't get to, you can reach out to the support team with that question. They would love to help you out because we're here to serve you. We want to help you build the body of Christ. That's what we're here for. So go ahead and reach out to the support team with any further questions that you have today.
Yeah, well, I love these live streams, especially we've changed the format a little bit and just getting the chance to be able to show all this stuff, especially now because it's so important having all of our ducks in a row when it comes to giving. And then next week, we're going to be talking about accounting, Matt, and getting deep into that. We may have you, me, and Lori in here. We may do 3 people. I don't even know. But we're going to be diving into accounting and just kind of showing just how to get going with it and the things you need to know, set up. Very similar format to what we did today. And so if you are new to ChurchTrac or you're using ChurchTrac accounting for the first time, or you've been using accounting a while, but you want to make sure you're doing it right, all of those types of people need to come on in for that one, and we'll have some fun. And we've got so many other live streams planned throughout these next few months as we dive into other features like Church Connect. We'll dive into other things like the people screen, sending mass emails, so much other things.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I really hope that you got something out of this today and that you're ready to hit the ground running with recording donations in ChurchTrac. Hope you have a blessed day.
See ya.